days after another.
Oh, for God's sakes, don't be so formal.
Nothing wrong with a little old-fashioned courtesy.
No, it's part of your charm. Oh, it's always so nice to come out and find the coffee made.
My pleasure.
Although it's about the only thing I prepare in the kitchen.
You exaggerate.
Not by much. What are you up to today?
Nothing really, until book club tonight.
Do you actually discuss books, or is it just an excuse for some guys to hang out?
We spend some time on the book every month. What about you?
Free as a bird. Amanda mentioned something about stopping by. She should be texting me to confirm.
Oh, it's nice that she's so attentive.
We enjoy one another. The flowers are a sweet gesture.
You're not going to say, but you shouldn't have?
No, I like a little attention from time to time.
How would you feel about more regularly?
And lose the spontaneity? I don't think you're supposed to schedule romantic gestures.
No.
Is there something up with you?
What do you mean?
You seem, I don't know, skittish. What does that mean?
Maybe I'm a little nervous.
Around me? I thought we were well beyond that.
Would you like me to freshen your coffee? I'm going to get another cup.
What would Dr. Milford say about a second cup of coffee?
Do you see Dr. Milford here?
You're starting to sound just like me.
And this is a bad thing.
No, I like to see you, I don't know, rebellious.
So, more coffee?
I'm fine with this, thank you. Robert,
I want to ask you something.
fire away.
Something serious.
Okay. Oh, no.
Will you marry me?
Oh, you're right about something serious.
And what is your answer?
This is something we should have discussed. We're a bit long in the tooth to be swept off our feet.
We're never too old for love. And I love you.
I agree.
So it's the most natural thing in the world.
You know, I'm very fond of you.
Oh, God.
And I enjoy our time together.
But,
We have a good thing. Why change it?
well, we could have a better thing. I could make you coffee every morning.
Well, that's sweet, but that's not what I want.
Are you saying no?
I'm happy with the way things are. Sometimes we spend time together. Sometimes I have the place to myself. It's a healthy balance. Speaking frankly, I don't want you or anyone around all the time. It would be suffocating.
I see.
I'm sorry.
Well, I'm certainly glad I didn't ask in a more public way.
So am I.
So, where do we go from here?
We carry on as before. We see each other a couple times a week. I enjoy your company. We enjoy our intimacy. We can just forget this other conversation didn't happen.
I don't think I can do that.
What do you mean?
I want us to have a more fuller life together. I want to make a commitment. And if you don't want to make a commitment, well,
So you're telling me that my options are marry you or lose you?
I guess I am. There are practical benefits as well. And think of what we'll save having one apartment.
I can afford my apartment. I'm assuming you can afford yours.
Yes, but
Then don't insult me with your practical benefits. I like my time with you, but I like my time to myself as well. To sleep in or get up early without having someone else to consider is a great luxury. I've gotten used to having the luxury most days. I'd feel trapped not having the place to myself ever. And being married is not having the place to yourself ever.
it can be so much more.
I've been married twice. Neither was bad, but it's not something I want again in my life.
Well, I can't take back what I asked.
Then my answer is no, Robert. wish we had talked about this before.
Before I made such a fool of myself.
No,
It would be hard to make a man feel more foolish than to refuse his marriage proposal.
well, I can't accept just to make you feel better.
Well, I guess that's it then. I may as well go pack my things,
Robert,
since I won't be coming back again.
don't be hasty.
This way you can have the place all to yourself all the time.
I'm happy with you here.
Some of the time.
Well, can't that be enough?
I feel more for you than you feel for me. I don't think I can live with that.
So better to have nothing than to have something that isn't everything you want.
I guess so.
Didn't we have a good time last night?
Of course.
And we didn't have to be married for that.
We'll have to be married to have that again.
Are you getting religion on me?
Is this a joke to you?
I don't, it just doesn't make sense to me. We have a good thing. Why can't we just keep it?
Well, maybe I would rather look for someone who could love me.
There's certainly plenty of lonely old women who will claim to.
So you think that little of me? Well, that's good to know.
You're being impossible.
Well, then you'll be better off without me.
That isn't true.
My proposal stands.
Then I guess my answer stands too. Although I wish this didn't have to be the end.
But it does.
If you say so,
I'm sorry.
as am I.
You'll excuse me? I'm gonna go gather my things.
I got you some tea.
Thanks, that's great.
So how are you?
Good on all counts. Work is good, the apartment is good, Dr. No is good.
I'm so glad you didn't name your cat something precious and cuddly.
Can you imagine calling him something like Mittens?
No. And that Jeremy is still working out as a roommate?
Well, he's not the most responsible person I know, but he pays his rent and his share of the utilities on time, and he can be a lot of fun.
A friend who can be a lot of fun is very different than a roommate who is a lot of fun. With a friend, you can take a break from the fun.
He really isn't that bad.
Well, if you say so.
Can I ask you a nosy question?
I suppose.
Is everything okay with you and Robert?
Why would you ask that?
Now, I wasn't snooping.
You better not have been.
But while I was washing my hands, I couldn't help but notice that there was only one toothbrush in your holder.
I never should have gotten you started on Nancy Drew.
I'm sorry.
But you're right. There is trouble in paradise. We seem to have broken up.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So am I. We had a good thing going. But he wanted more.
Oh?
He wanted to get married.
Well, that's sweet in a way.
He wanted more of a commitment than I'm ready to make.
To him?
To anyone.
Hmm.
You know, since Pete died, I've gotten used to being on my own. Having the place to myself most of the time. I appreciated having a little company. Very pleasant company from time to time. But I don't want someone around 24/7.
And he couldn't accept that?
Nope. Can I tell you the whole truth?
Why wouldn't you?
You're the only person I could imagine telling this to.
You want me to help you bury the body?
You're the granddaughter I deserve. No, the real reason I don't want to marry Robert or anyone is that I don't want to end up being a caretaker again. I've paid those dues with Pete.
Well, Robert seemed in good shape.
Yeah, but there's an inevitable decline coming for both of us. But experience suggests his will come sooner. As the casual girlfriend, I could leave the responsibility with his kids. But as his wife,
It's good you know your limits.
I've earned them. Not to say that I won't miss him. It's hard to find an intimate partner at this age. Speaking of which, what's going on in your life?
Nothing.
Well, that's been true for a long time. At your age, that isn't healthy. There should be someone in your life besides your gay roommate.
I'm fine, really.
Did someone break your heart?
No, it's nothing like that.
It's okay if you're seeing a woman, you know. Not just with me. Your mother would rather that than to see you alone.
I'm not a lesbian, Gran. I would have come out a long time ago if I was.
Have you tried Tinder?
I can't believe that you suggest that.
I know it's hard to find somebody at any age.
I don't want to meet people, not in that way.
What does that mean? Not that casually?
I want you to hear what I have to say without judgment.
That's quite a setup.
I'm asexual.
And what does that mean?
I don't have any desire for or any interest in sex.
Oh dear, isn't there something you can take for that?
No, this isn't a condition to be cured. It's what I was born to be. Just like you were born heterosexual, Jeremy was born gay, I was born asexual.
Was your parents' marriage that bad?
No, well, sometimes. But this isn't a reaction to that. I'm happy for all of you folks that enjoy sex. I'm just not one of you.
But you're missing so much.
I don't feel like I am.
But you wear lipstick.
What has that got to do with anything?
Why bother making yourself attractive if you're not?
Think about what you're saying. The only reason to be presentable is to attract a mate?
In large part.
Wow, I thought you were going to be the easy one.
It sounds so lonely.
Not at all. I have loads of friends. I have you. For all of his shortcomings, I have Jeremy. My life is far from empty. It's just not filled with things that don't interest me.
Have you tried?
I went to college.
So you're sure?
As sure as I am that my eyes are blue.
It makes me sad.
I'm sorry.
You're missing out on so much of life.
I'm not some object of pity.
No. It's just a bit of a shock. I hadn't considered it. I didn't even know that there were
People like me.
It's going to take some getting used to, is all.
I don't see what there is to get used to. It's not as though you'd be spending any time in my bedroom if I were having sex with anyone.
No, but it makes me sad.
Just because I don't find joy in the same way you do,
I just can't imagine.
and I can't imagine needing someone in that way to be happy.
I'm happy alone. Sex is just an added bonus.
Well, how will you replace Robert?
I guess it's time for a senior's cruise.
Is there really such a thing?
Oh, baby, you have no idea.
Well, what about meeting someone local?
Are you suggesting I should cruise the early bird specials?
After your cruise, aren't you right back where you started?
Hopefully with some fun and non-committed memories.
Sounds like a lot of effort.
The payoff can be worth it.
I'm glad it can be for you. I see myself as released from a lifetime of uncertainty. I don't think there's any thrill of the hunt, as I don't think there is for most people.
No, I liked being settled in with Robert. I just wanted boundaries around the settlement.
So how do you think Mom will react when I tell her?
You know, no parent really wants to know everything about their child.
This is a pretty central part of my identity. It's not like neglecting to mention I went skydiving.
Did you? Really? Well, you're wise to keep that from your mother.
But it's not something that's at the core of who I am.
Well, not when you put it that way.
And it's not something that I have any reason to be ashamed of.
Of course not.
So you're starting to see.
Can you accept that what you're telling me is true? I can accept that, but that I really don't understand.
I was hoping for more.
But not understanding doesn't mean I love you less.
This is going to be exhausting. Telling Mom and eventually telling Dad.
He'll probably do better than any of us.
He'll probably say something rude like, at least I don't have to worry about you getting knocked up. Go right back to whatever game he was watching.
Sad but true.
And that's just family. It's hard to function in a world that doesn't understand, doesn't want to understand. There's many in the LGBTQ movement that don't want to accept us.
I'm sorry you've been given such a road to hoe. And I'm sorry that I made it more difficult.
You were honest.
Well, sometimes that isn't good enough, is it? I hope everything gets easier than you expect from here on out.
Well, that's not how I'd bet.
Oh.
Hey, what are you doing up? Oh, did we, sorry.
You should be.
You know, I've had people
Sleepover.
before.
And some of those have kept me up.
Well, I didn't realize you should have said something.
Such as?
I don't know. Jeremy, I could hear you having sex.
I didn't want you to feel like you couldn't bring dates home.
Well, I'm really sorry.
I do have to say that you and Alan, you were especially vocal. Wait, is this the same Alan?
It sure is.
How nice.
It really is.
So what brings you out here?
Well, obviously I couldn't sleep, and I didn't want to wake him with all my tossing and turning.
Cookie?
Thank you very much.
Ah, the offer was cookie, singular.
Put it on my tab.
That's less amusing than you think.
Oh boy.
Yes.
You know, I was wondering, never mind.
Oh, please.
If I could borrow some orange juice,
Borrow?
I'll replace it, I swear.
Fine, but you'll replace it later today.
You bet. You know, I still have that bottle of champagne so I can make mimosas. You'll be welcome to join us.
I just might. I want to check out Mr. Repeat Performance.
And I have coffee. And there's sugar, and he takes his coffee black and sweet. So I don't have to worry about not having milk.
And what will you feed him?
We can go out for brunch.
Are you planning to sleep in, or will there be a repeat performance in the morning? Or later in the morning?
You know, I bet you would be a lot less tired if you could have some revenge sex and keep me up.
Is that what you people mean by revenge sex? I thought it referred to something else.
It usually does.
Well, from a purely anthropological perspective, how does that work out for you?
Well, the sex can be fine. But the revenge part is rarely effective.
That's what I would have thought.
Can I tell you something?
Let me guess.
I think I'm in love.
With that, I had a nickel for every time I heard that.
But this time I'm serious.
And you've been seeing Alan for...
What does that matter? 3 weeks. You'll see.
True enough.
You know, you could be happy for me.
And does Alan feel the same way?
Well, I think so. I mean, we both always stay until the morning.
Be still my heart.
You just don't understand.
I've been watching you at pretty close range now for what, nearly 8 years?
College doesn't count.
6 years then.
This time it's different, I swear.
Different from Barry or Steven or...
Yes! Different than any other one that you could name.
Well, then I'm glad for you.
It does bring something up.
Yes.
If Alan and I are gonna move in together,
Have you discussed this with Alan?
it's only a matter of time.
Have you ever heard the old expression, wed in haste and repent at leisure?
I'm just trying to be fair to you here.
You are not seriously giving
I
notice.
want to give you
Our
time.
lease isn't up for another 7 months.
So, see, I wouldn't be rushing into anything with Alan. I would never stick you with months of rent.
Goddamn right you wouldn't. I'd haunt you like the Furies.
Where will you find another roommate?
Not on Craigslist, that's for sure.
Well, this is a great apartment. I mean, high ceiling crown moldings, 3 blocks to the metro, and pretty reasonable rent.
You know, if you really do move out, I think I'll let this place go.
Now you're making me feel guilty.
No, maybe I'll find a 1-bedroom and finally live on my own. You know, I've never done that. I went from my parents' house to the dorms to the apartment with Kara and Marie to living here with you since graduation.
Do you really want to be that alone?
It might be peaceful. My one non-negotiable would be a washer and dryer in the unit. No more schlepping to the laundry room would be heaven.
Well, we're not there yet.
I'm glad you recognize that.
So that does give us 4 months,
Why 4 months?
because I want to give you 3 months notice at least. So you have time to find a
And
place.
so we both get used to the idea. 6 years is a long time. I always knew that you'd leave me for another man.
Ha ha.
You know, it'll feel like breaking up in a way.
Sorting through our CDs and books.
I get custody of the plants and Dr. No.
He's definitely your cat.
You'll miss him.
Probably in some weird way. Yeah.
Wait a goddamn minute.
What?
We are suddenly making all these plans as though they were based in reality. If history is any guide, in 7 months, Alan will be long gone.
Don't be like that.
So I'm gonna hold off on apartment
You
hunting.
could at least wish me well.
I do. I always wish you the best.
And that's what Alan is.
I am so grateful that my life is not as tumultuous as yours.
You missed the ecstasy.
But I've seen you in agony, and that's not for me.
No agony this time.
How can you be so sure?
I don't know, I just am.
That doesn't make any sense.
Love isn't supposed to make sense. It's completely irrational.
And that's the basis for building a life together?
Yes?
No wonder so many marriages don't make it.
You know, your cynicism is just a defense.
My good common sense is not cynicism.
Good common sense equals killjoy equals buzzkill.
Okay then, I hope you're right. I hope this one works out, and I hope you'll be very happy.
Thank you. Although it is gonna be really weird.
Well, whatever floats your boat.
No, not Alan and me. We're leaving you. It'll feel more like leaving home than when I left my parents' house.
Except we'll still be living in the same city and we'll still see each other.
It won't be the same.
No, it won't. But it's not like the three of us could live together.
You'd never get any sleep.
Speaking of which, now that it's quiet, I'm heading back to bed.
I should too.
Good night then.
I-
Don't get all sentimental on me.
Say something. I understand that you're upset. We're not going to get anywhere by not talking about
There's
it.
nothing to talk about.
I think we need to negotiate.
My answer is no. Firmly and emphatically, no.
I don't think you're being fair to me.
Oh, please.
Don't dismiss me like that.
You tell me you want to cheat on me.
It's not like I ran around behind your back or told you after the fact.
Oh, if there was a Nobel Prize for integrity, you'd be a shoo-in.
This is exactly the kind of attitude that's not helpful.
No, no. You were being honest. I'm just being honest in return.
I told you I was bisexual.
Well, I thought that was just a theoretical construct.
No.
So the sex here isn't good enough?
The sex here is great, and you know it.
Then why can't that be enough?
Because half of me isn't satisfied.
That's great. That's just great.
I need to
Cheat?
satisfy my full libido.
I thought we had a commitment,
We do, without question. I love you.
but not exclusively.
Yes, exclusively. This would just be a hookup.
That's how they always start.
You have to trust me.
And do you have any idea what it will be like for me knowing you're gone all night?
I won't be gone all night.
Now that's romantic.
Neither of us want it to be romantic,
I don't want it to be. Period.
as you've made clear.
So that means you won't.
I don't know.
Have you already met someone? Did your eyes meet across a crowded room? Did lightning strike? Did you feel this sublime feeling that this is the person I want to have casual sex with?
I knew you'd have trouble with this.
Then why even bring it up?
Because I want you to come around to recognizing my needs.
And where will you meet this someone for this extracurricular activity?
Tinder, of course.
Oh, so you've got this plan.
I didn't want to bring it up until I was sure.
Do you have someone specific in mind? So you've been planning this for a while, Mr. Integrity.
Like I said, I wanted to be sure.
If this can't really be happening.
If it would make you feel any better, you could come along.
Excuse me?
could both go.
No, we couldn't. We really couldn't.
You might find it less threatening.
If I could watch? I don't think so. I have no cuckolding fantasies. Thanks, just the same.
You could participate.
No, I couldn't. I'm not bisexual. I have no interest at all in women.
You wouldn't have to be with her.
I have no interest in being the floor show.
You could be with her husband.
Her husband?
He's bisexual.
Wait.
Like what?
Are you gonna have a threesome?
Well, sure is no emotional commitment.
A threesome?
Like I said, you'd be welcome to join us.
No. Just no. No.
Then think of it as me indulging in a hobby that doesn't interest you. Like, I don't know, Ultimate Frisbee. Or a book club.
I think book clubs are a bit more staid.
You truly have no more to worry about than if I was playing pickleball.
I'll let the obvious metaphor go.
Let me try it once. And if it really upsets you, I won't do it again.
I can assure you, it will really upset me. Really.
I know I'm asking a lot, but do it for me. Please.
Does it really mean that much to you?
Yes.
Even enough to leave me feeling bereft and betrayed?
Well, maybe you need to work on being less possessive.
So you're saying this is my issue?
It is your issue. It doesn't have to be a big deal if you don't make a big deal of it.
That's just wrong.
Why? I'm not leaving you. I won't love you any less. In fact, I'll love you more for giving me that freedom.
And what about me?
I invited you along.
No!
Then you have to find a way not to make such a big drama out of it.
I don't know what to say.
You can say, give it a try.
Well, it sounds like you've already made up your mind.
I'll be very disappointed if you don't go along.
Will you not do it if I say no?
This time?
Wow.
I'm gonna need to express that side of myself at some point. And if you're not ready now, I'm willing to give it some time, but you're gonna have to come around eventually.
I don't think that's an idea I'll ever get used to.
Then you might as well let me do it this time.
Will you really not spend the night?
I swear to you. We can just say, I'm having dinner with friends.
Consider a menu joke made.
Let's see. It will have no impact on us at all.
I don't see how that's possible.
You'll give it a chance? Really?
Don't push it.
Thank you. You're the best.
I really wish I didn't have to go through such lengths to prove it.
Come here.
Excuse me?
So,
Are you out of your mind?
no.
This is the last thing.
It shouldn't be. What better way to prove that nothing has to change between us, that my desire for you is unabated?
I really don't think I'm in the mood.
Angry sex might be kind of hot.
I'm not angry. I'm hurt and confused.
A little roll in the hay might clear your head.
I don't think so.
What do you have to gain by withholding? You're punishing yourself as much as you're punishing me, except I don't want you pushing me away.
I'm not pushing you away. You're walking away.
Except I'm not. I'm expanding my world, but the part of my world that's you is unchanged.
Can't believe it's that simple.
Yeah, me. It's somewhere more comfortable. Hi.
Hi.
Uh,
I was getting afraid you wouldn't show.
oh, no, got held up at work.
Ah,
It's odd seeing you in the daylight.
you make me sound like a vampire.
Hardly. You know, this is the first time I feel like I'm cheating on Jeremy.
It's not like we're gonna have sex on the table.
Well, sex isn't cheating, but any other kind of connection is.
I suppose that means I'm cheating on Will.
Depends on your intentions.
What'd you get?
Oh, the Cobb salad and 2 chocolate chip cookies. And you?
Just a turkey club. 2 chocolate chip cookies.
Sugar is my go-to in the face of anxiety.
Is this making you anxious? Well, maybe you should be.
Uh-oh. Is this about you and Will?
In a manner of speaking.
Are you, what's going on?
No, we're fine.
Just done with me.
I think we have to be.
We didn't have to meet for lunch for you to tell me that.
We didn't want to ghost you.
Appreciate that.
And a text seemed, a little chilly. You're an important part of our lives.
Then it's probably for the best that we call it quits.
You're taking this well.
Well, I'm thinking how relieved Jeremy will be.
It's a shame we never got to meet him.
I can't imagine anything more awkward than the 4 of us sitting down for cocktails together.
I think he'd at least be curious. I would be. You should start on your salad.
Yeah, I don't see you making much progress on your sandwich.
Happy?
But not really hungry.
I'm sorry.
I really want to start on my cookies.
Be my guest.
You know, I'm gonna miss you guys.
I don't think we can proceed to just friends. I think we're better off with a clean break.
Agreed.
But there is something I have to tell you.
Oh, God. Please tell me I haven't brought something home to Jeremy.
Jesus, no. But thanks for that vote of
Well,
confidence.
that can be the cost of sexual adventuring.
You are the whole, we're the whole of our adventure.
I was your first,
Oh, no. But we always only have one at a time. There is something.
Yes?
I guess I should just say it directly.
Please.
I'm pregnant. Do all men react with total silence?
Is that how Will reacted? How could you be? I mean, well, of course. But I thought you were on the pill.
I stopped.
Well, that wasn't fair to any of us. You should have said something. I would have worn a condom.
I didn't want you to.
So, this could be either one of ours.
No,
Well, I guess we'll have to do a DNA test after it's born.
that won't be necessary.
Oh?
Will and I have been trying to get pregnant for years.
Oh my God.
So it's highly unlikely to be Will's.
I still think we should wait for the DNA test.
I would rather not take one.
So we'll just assume that it's
I am hoping we won't have to.
What does that mean?
Will and I want to treat the baby like it's ours.
Well, that would be fair to the child, but what's my role to be? Are you going to want child support? Am I going to be Uncle Alan?
No, at least we hope not. We're hoping this will be the last time we see you. Will and I discussed it, and we want the baby to be ours. All ours. Ours alone.
I get your drift.
It'll be like we had an anonymous sperm donor,
Well, thanks for what?
except we got to vet ours. You're healthy, attractive, a nice guy.
I don't know if I like the idea of having no contact with my child.
Well, how would Jeremy feel about being Uncle Jeremy?
Oh, he loves kids. He loves me.
I didn't think you'd be like this. I
Well-
really thought you'd let it go.
Well, people are just chock full of surprises, aren't they?
So you'd really put us through the uncertainty and indignity of a DNA test?
You sounded pretty sure that it was mine.
Well, I can live in hope. It'd just be so ugly to have the question of paternity hanging over my pregnancy.
You should have just ghosted me. Now, no matter what I decide, I'll always know, or at least I'll wonder if I have a child out there.
I want to get your family medical history.
Doesn't that usually come before the whole...
If I had said, I want you to get me pregnant, would you have even considered it? I couldn't risk it.
So instead, you manipulated me. You used me like a stud horse.
You have every right to be angry.
This would have been so much simpler if I'd never known.
I'm serious about wanting the family medical history. Hereditary syndromes, chronic illnesses, mental illness. Hell, even your blood type.
You wanted to conduct this interview over lunch.
No, I'd like you to have more time to think about it.
Add it to the list of things I have to think about.
Oh, and I got a questionnaire here from my OBGYN that you can fill out. A stamped envelope that you can mail it back to me. And then we can be done with one another.
I could sue you for joint custody.
I don't think you want anything that ugly for the three of us or for the child.
Did you honestly think I would say, yeah, great, let me fill out the form and be done with it?
Well, I have to admit, it didn't really occur to me.
That fatherhood might matter to me.
I should have never worried about the family medical history.
I cannot, I know it.
Will love the baby like his own.
Bullet for Will. That's one more level of dishonesty.
No.
Yes, you tricked me into getting you, and then you're going to lie to the child about its paternity. What kind of a starting life is that, to begin with two lies?
I will do what I have to do to make sure my child has a happy life.
You'll do what you think you have to do. That's for sure.
Give us some thought.
I don't think that'll move me any closer to what you want.
Whew. Then I will see you and your lawyer at the DNA test if that's what you want. Meanwhile, I hope you will mail me the form. Then I'm gonna go. And I honestly hope I never see your face again. Oh, sorry about that.
No worries.
I pee an average of 37 times per day.
She wants you to be ready for changing diapers 37 times a day.
You want some more tea?
Oh, no, I'm good. Thanks.
That is another thing I will not miss.
What, tea?
Yeah, once this baby comes, I will never drink another cup of herbal tea as long as I live. Really, I don't miss wine all that much, but I would kill for a cup of caffeinated coffee.
Oh, I can't imagine.
Really?
Although, I am sorry Brenda and I never had kids.
Seriously?
Yeah, sometimes.
Well, you will have every opportunity you want to bond with your niece.
Well, that's probably the ideal situation.
And you'll pull your share of the diaper weight.
And I'll offer her a safe house when she's a teen.
Ha ha.
So how's Will holding up?
Ah, he remains over the moon.
Oh, that's good.
His perpetual sunniness is actually a tad annoying.
Well, it'll be good for the baby.
Well, we'll see how his radiant vision holds up in the face of an actual child.
Anxious, are we?
What sane person wouldn't be? There is one source of anxiety you could help alleviate.
Sure, what do you need?
Well, this may not be sure.
Okay.
Would you be willing to be Emma's guardian if something were to happen to Will and me?
Oh, honey, nothing's gonna happen to you and Will.
We can't know that. And I feel so much better knowing Emma had a place to go.
Are you serious about this? Wow, it suddenly feels like a big responsibility.
Well, it would be.
Well, I need to talk it over with Brenda.
Of course. Do you think she'll have an issue with it?
Well, I really don't know.
Are you willing?
Well, of course, I would hate to see the poor little tyke out in the streets.
Well, we really want it to be you. And of course, Brenda.
Well, do you really think that, oh my God, is there something that-
No, no,
Oh,
really
Oh,
no.
okay.
We just want to have our bases covered, that's all.
I know you like to be prepared.
Well, you wouldn't want her to end up with mom and dad.
Well, I don't know, maybe they get it right the third time.
Actually, you know, the closer I get to having this baby here, the more compassion I have for them.
Oh, well, bully for you.
Well, I mean, it's not like I'm gonna take them as role models, and I'm not gonna be mocking or belittling her. But, you know, I have some sense that what they were trying to do was just help us survive in the world.
I think this baby has really turned your brains to mush.
I think they were just panicked all the time. And that led to, well, you know, what it led to. Will and I have a much healthier relationship. So that'll help.
Is there anyone on Will's side?
Oh, his dad would mean well.
Oh, he's always seemed like a bit of a lost soul.
Will says he's actually doing better than anyone expected after his mom died.
Well, what about the brother?
Oh, the 31-year-old barista brother?
Well,
I'm sure he would provide a stable and nurturing home.
you know, so Brenda and I are really your last resort.
No, you'd be our first choice, regardless.
Well, I know it's only hypothetical.
No, no, it is a real commitment.
Well, then, how would you feel about it being me alone?
Why would you ask that?
Well, because this might be the last straw for Brenda and me.
I wouldn't
You know,
want to.
it might be for the best. You know, we've been together out of habit for quite a while now.
Oh, honey, you're just going through some doldrums. It happens in every marriage.
But, yeah, but you and Will always seem so.
And we are today. But there's been plenty of times where it's all been just facade.
Wow, you all are pretty good at it.
We've just agreed that our business is not for public consumption.
Yeah, and Brenda and I don't have that sort of self-control.
Well, it's not like you're fighting in public.
It's not like we're fighting in private. That would require too much energy, too much engagement. We don't care enough to fight anymore.
Have you considered counseling?
Been there, done that.
So what are you gonna do?
Well, in all likelihood, ride the inertia.
And hope you come out the other side?
Well, that's not how I'd bet.
I hate to see you so miserable.
I mean, I hate being miserable, but not as much as I hate living my life on my own.
But do you think asking Brenda to be Emma's guardian would put her over the brink?
Oh, big slip.
What?
You just said the baby's name.
Oh, God. Please don't tell Will.
Oh, no, no, you're stick with me. And yes, Brenda really doesn't like children at all.
I mean, that's kind of curmudgeonly.
Have you met Brenda?
I mean, you guys seem so well balanced. You provide the helium, she the ballast.
You know, sometimes the ballast just feels like a ball and chain. That's why we never had kids or a kid. Brenda wouldn't even consider it. And when I loved her, you know, I could deal with it.
I don't want to be the straw.
No, no, you could be doing us a favor.
Brenda could surprise you and say yes.
There'd be a certain amount of irony in staying together for someone else's baby.
Maybe we should hold off.
So I'm not the ideal candidate you thought.
It's not that.
So who's the lucky runner-up? Come on, it wouldn't be like you not to have a plan B.
Eleanor and Stuart. She's been my best friend since college.
Yeah, but don't they already have 2 kids of their own?
Well, yeah, but I'm sure they could find space in their heart for a third.
Yeah, and they'd be more stable than Brenda and I. I mean, no, you're right, you're right. But it just stings a little that you would make the request and then, withdraw it.
You will still have a major role in her life. I'm really sorry about you and Brenda.
Since you're, it's pretty clear that you and Will are still very sexual.
Well, yes. Why wouldn't we be?
Why indeed? Listen, I hope if this isn't TMI, but Brenda and I are not. And we haven't been in years.
But you're only
I
59.
know, I know.
What, was there some kind of incident?
No, no infidelity, no boundaries crossing in bed. We just kind of stopped. It wasn't a conscious decision, and well, at least not on my part. And it's never been articulated. We just sort of drifted away from intimacy. It's been so long now. God, it would feel weird. I wouldn't know how to initiate.
I don't even have any advice for you.
No, no. Oh, and I'd have no idea how she'd respond.
Well,
Uh,
have you
I guess I'd rather feel, frustrated than rejected.
have you thought about taking a lover?
No, I've thought about and rejected. I'd have to break up with Brenda before I could do that.
It is not a relationship I'd want to be in.
But it's familiar. And we have the house and the dog and
Listen, it's not my place to tell you what to do.
yeah, so I'll probably do nothing and things will roll along. See, I could offer Emma stability. Not joy, perhaps, but stability.
Obviously, I need to talk to Will.
Yeah, I assume you knew you were going to ask me today.
Of course.
Oh, it must be nice. To have a spouse that you can talk to.
I can't imagine not.
Well, I envy you,
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry.
and so am I. But not sorry enough to do anything about it. So how is it?
Oh, so good you would hardly know it's instant.
It's a good thing Brenda's not here to hear you call her precious Starbucks via instant. Oh, nothing like a robust Cabernet first thing in the morning, huh?
I'm afraid I wouldn't know.
Oh, I wish Brenda and I were Jewish. Well, we could have the internment within 24 hours. None of this sitting around for 3 weeks waiting for the celebration of life. Oh, I suppose we're lucky we could book the Friends Meeting House that quickly.
Look, I am not going to speak of closure.
Good, because you're probably wearing some of this Cabernet. Oh, well, at least I have 3 weeks to think about what I'm gonna say.
You don't have to speak.
I really can't play the too overwhelmed with grief card.
You're numb. Who knows what you'll be feeling in 3 weeks?
Guilty for not being sad enough.
That's what I mean by numb.
Yeah, I'm surprised, after all this time.
There is no right way to grieve.
The thing is, I feel like I know her less and less the longer that we were together. I don't think I'm gonna keep this house.
Now, you shouldn't be in a rush
I
about it.
not mean I'm gonna put it up tomorrow, but I think I'm gonna want a fresh start. Oh, and you think that that's cold, don't you?
No, I
Well, you wouldn't be this composed if Buddy died, would you?
No, I would be a sobbing wreck, but I'm not you.
And you and Buddy are close.
Of course, I also wouldn't be drinking wine at 11 a.m. to numb my feelings.
Oh, so you're judging me?
I'm just observing. For someone who isn't affected, you're going to great lengths not to be affected.
Well, of course, I'm feeling things. I God, we were together for 15 years, and I certainly didn't wish her dead.
No, of course not.
And when I focus on the early days, you know, it makes me sad. But it makes me even sadder that they've been gone for so long.
I'm sorry. You both masked it well.
Well, there's no hostility. We were just in a cozy rut. Are you sure you wouldn't want a little wine?
Quite sure, thank you.
You know, there is so much stuff to go through.
You don't have to be in a rush.
No, and the wine will make sure of that.
You know, you may really want to watch that.
I don't, actually, I don't. It's a lovely coping mechanism, and I'm in the mood not to cope.
So, when will you be going back to work?
Well, not till after the celebration of life. I get 3 days bereavement leave, and then I'm taking personal leave for the rest of it. And I'm hoping after 3 weeks that I won't have to deal with a lot of sympathy and condolences. That's the hardest part. Realizing that all these people expect me to be so much sadder than I am.
The wine would suggest otherwise.
Oh, lay off the wine.
I could say the same to you.
And I could to you, but you won't because you'd be wasting your breath, and I'm sure I'll put it down in a couple of days.
I hope so.
Has it ever been a problem before?
Have you ever buried a wife before?
Not wife, partner. We were never married. You know, ritual of the patriarchy, don't you know?
Oh, dear.
I was willing, you know, for all the legal things it made simpler, never mind the affirming of commitment and other sentimental aspects.
Does that make it harder now?
No, our will is pretty solid. We were co-owners of the house with right of survivorship. Then she left her brother her car and left some money to her niece and her nephew. So there really shouldn't be any problem with the family.
They were accepting?
Well, yeah, there was never any problem with the lesbian thing.
That's good.
I mean, at least not on the surface.
That's good.
But they weren't close. You know, I think the only reason Liam came down here to the celebration of life is because he's gonna have to be down here anyway to pick up the car.
Have you thought about the program for the celebration?
I don't know, it should be pretty simple. I mean, Reverend Dorothy will welcome everyone and say a few words about the Unitarian view of death. And then I'm gonna make Liam say something because he's already down here. And then I'll speak. And then we'll open up floor up for memories.
Are you sure that you're going to be up for speaking?
The trick is going to be seeming appropriately bereaved.
Then why are you taking 3 weeks off?
Because I want to get this place cleaned out. I want all the sorting and packing done, the trips to the Goodwill, the gifts to friends, the trash. I want it all over with before I go back out into the world. I saw how it was for Greta. She couldn't face and she couldn't let go, and her place was looking like a mausoleum after a year, and I'm not going to have that here.
If you need a hand, I would be happy to help, and I'm sure there are others.
I'll keep that in mind.
People want to help.
I'll keep that in mind.
You may feel like isolating,
You mean I may want to be alone?
but that might not be the best thing for you.
You know, the next time I'm in the market for a friend, remind me not to pick a school shrink.
Am I being fired as a friend?
Oh, no, honey, I appreciate that you're here.
Really?
Yeah, but just don't push it.
On a lighter note.
What?
How are Julie and the baby?
Oh, everybody seems to be thriving. The baby is healthy and as can be. And with a smile that could melt steel.
Aw.
Yeah, and Julie doesn't seem to be having any postpartum depression. Maybe a little sleep deprivation.
I remember it well.
Yeah. And if Will was grinning any wider, his face would break.
Well, it sounds like they'll be really good for you.
Yeah. Oh, that's another source of ambivalence. I don't want her dead. I really don't. But I'll be able to enjoy the baby so much more and so much more often.
I recall she didn't care for children.
No, that's why you were my friend and not hers.
We were cordial.
And so were we. That was the problem.
You never seemed uncomfortable around one another.
No, we were quite civil. Do you and Buddy ever fight?
You know full well we do.
That's because you care enough to fight. You feel things intensely.
You know, most fights are over stupid things. I mean, who could possibly be that invested in how to load a dishwasher?
Yeah, but you get beyond them.
Eventually, of course. And we rarely fight about big things, you know? And we do pretty well staying on the same page about the kids.
How about sex?
Excuse me?
Do you guys ever fight about sex?
That's pretty personal.
And that's not no. My point is, in order to be fighting about it, you have to still be having it.
Well, of course.
Not of course. We weren't for years. Did you ever see us holding hands? We could lay in a bed together without touching.
Did you ever talk about it?
It just sort of evolved gradually.
But eventually you had to have had thought that, you know,
No, well, the
something was-
closest we came to a conversation was with my saying, Brenda, why aren't we having sex anymore? And her responding, aren't we done with all that? And if I were braver, if I would have pushed, and if I had been able,
I'm so sorry.
no is an absolute, and there's no negotiating.
I can see how the frustration makes things more difficult now.
I mean, I chose to say, so it isn't all on her.
Why did you?
Stay? You know, I honestly don't know. Sometimes because I still loved her. And then sometimes out of fear of being on my own, and sometimes just plain old inertia. But none of those fully answer the question why.
Are you sorry you stayed?
That doesn't matter. I did.
Well, I mean, this is hard. This is hard for you in ways that I can't even imagine. But that's been true for a while now, hasn't it? Look, anytime you need to talk,
I know. And thank you. Okay, and that's enough of that, okay? I think it's time now for some non-instant coffee.
oh, here, here.
Yeah, but it isn't gonna change anything.
No.
Damn, I wish something. Yeah, it would be a lot easier to deal with things on my own terms.
You know, if I knew what those terms were. But Philip. I'm here for you while you figure it out. Call.
For human contact, but this helps us see
I'm here so I in the house.
Thanks.
What's that?
You don't have a desk. That's strange.
Oh, well, I find the table makes for more open, more comfortable conversations. Well, much better than me behind a fortress of a desk and would a chair in front.
I guess. You keep it so clean. Where do you work?
Well, my trusty laptop goes anywhere, and I can spread out papers if I need them. Oh, speaking of my laptop,
Oh, are you going to be taking notes?
I will make a note or two. Just have a record of our conversation.
Can I see?
My notes are confidential.
Will they go in Wayne's permanent record?
They will be included in his file.
Then as his mother, don't I have a right to see them?
I'm afraid at present, no.
That doesn't seem right.
It allows me to make more honest observations.
Honest, like and critical.
I don't think you need to anticipate criticism.
So you won't end up saying that I'm a shitty, crappy parent? You won't be blaming all of Dwayne's problems on his home life?
Dwayne doesn't present many problems. His teachers report that he is a delightful and engaged child.
In my life here, you don't call parents in just to say nice things about their kids.
There was a little incident.
She stopped biting years ago.
Yes. Yes, he did.
So?
He called Andrew Harrison. Well, he called Andrew Harrison a cocksucker.
He did not.
I'm afraid he did.
You're gonna take one kid's word over...
Miss Dixon heard him, as did about a dozen of his classmates.
Oh, he didn't tell me.
Well, I can see pretty I don't want to.
Is that all? No, that's not a big deal.
Well, it also seems that some of his classmates took the word home with them. And several parents called to complain quite vociferously. We had to assure them that we weren't teaching that kind of language in school, especially not in the 3rd grade.
Well, did you wash out his mouth with soap?
We really don't use techniques like that anymore. He did go into timeout.
That's it?
We tried to have him apologize to Andrew, but that did not go well.
Did he give you sass? I'll kill him.
Not upset. He said, Andrew, I'm sorry I called you a cocksucker.
Well, what did you expect him to say?
We asked him to apologize for using a bad word. We didn't expect him to use it again.
Well, I can see how he might think that that's what he was supposed to do. Apologize for what was said.
But the point is that we can't have him repeating that word or that kind of language ever again.
Well, Andrew must have done something to provoke him.
And we have addressed that with Andrew and his parents.
But they led the charge, foul language.
They were concerned.
And what did their precious Andrew do?
He kicked down a tower of blocks that Dwayne was building.
I can see where Dwayne might be pissed off. At least he didn't hit the kid.
We do try to teach better conflict management.
So you expect him to do nothing?
We would prefer that he say something like, Andrew, what you did just really hurt me.
Are you serious? At 8?
That's the goal.
Well, I'm afraid I'm with Dwayne on this one.
Miss Young.
Well, maybe not the exact clarity.
Wow. And the language is the issue here. As I said, we have addressed Andrew's behavior with his parents, and now I have to address Dwayne's language with you.
I'll tell her not to ever use that word again.
That's a start.
What else?
At his age, Dwayne must have heard the word in a context that made him think it was an appropriate way of expressing anger.
But excuse me?
He must have heard it from some adult in his life.
Are you accusing me?
No, not at all. Not at all, but I am suggesting that you address it with whatever adult in his life is using the language. We can tell our children to behave one way, But if the adults in our lives are behaving in another, well, they are going to do as we do and not as we say.
Well, it must have been one of his friend's parents. It certainly wouldn't be his grandmother. She's a fierce church-going woman. And even his daddy wouldn't.
I leave it to you to identify and speak with the culprit.
You think it's me, don't you? Did he rat me out?
We didn't. No, we didn't absolutely hear the word. We just know that it's something he picked up outside of school.
I never said that word in front of him.
But it's possible he overheard.
Well, you tried dealing with his father.
I'm not sure it's very personal.
I don't even know where to begin. If he would make regular support payments, we wouldn't always be struggling.
That sounds very difficult.
And then when he does pay up, he thinks he could just pop by and see Dwayne anytime he likes.
Well, this sounds like an issue for the courts.
Are you going to give me the money to hire a lawyer?
I am going to ask you to be more careful with the language that you use around Dwayne.
I may have used it on the phone with his dad, but only after he's gone to sleep.
Children go to bed without going to sleep.
So it's all my fault. I'm a bad mother because I cuss out that popsicle. Repeat a non-curse word to describe him.
I know co-parenting can be very stressful.
Do you? Be share custody of your kids or something?
My circumstances are not germane to this discussion.
Oh, yeah? Then why should I listen to you if you don't know what I'm going through?
I have seen many examples of stress in the home affecting children's behavior. And that is what we're talking about, Dwayne's behavior.
So now Dwayne's a bad kid.
Dwayne is a delightful child.
To a cocksucker on his permanent record.
We only noted inappropriate language. We did not cite that particular phrase.
So what do you want me to do?
Please be careful of the behavior that you model around Dwayne.
I'm only human. I'm going to slip up occasionally.
We ask that you be thoughtful and that you think of Dwayne first.
How many kids you got?
My situation is not relevant.
I'm getting none. Or you wouldn't think this was so easy. Snap like fingers and suddenly I'm Claire Huxtable?
Look, I understand you face stressors.
She could afford to be Claire Huxtable. She was a lawyer married to a doctor. I'm an administrative assistant with an associate's degree who made the mistake of hooking up with a low-life scum.
Is there any way to divert some of this anger at Dwayne's father?
Really? What planet are you broadcasting from?
No, I think it might really be good for you and for Dwayne.
Isn't this how it goes? Total strangers taking Dwayne Sr.'s side.
I'm not.
Even my mother, who used to hate him more than I do, who's I had no easier on him.
I'm not here to give relationship advice. I'm here to advocate for Dwayne.
By judging me?
I am not judging you this young. We have many parents with difficult life circumstances. I can only sympathize with all of you. Raising a child is difficult under the best of circumstances. I do understand that it is much more difficult when one is facing economic challenges or relationship challenges.
You gotta understand, I don't drink, I don't beat him, I gotta let off steam somehow. So I cuss a little, is that really a crime?
Surely you can see that makes it difficult when Dwayne picks up that language and brings it to school.
No, it's a good thing I love him as much as I do, or I might think I'd be better off without him.
What?
Relax, I love him to bits. But sometimes it's all just exhausting. And then to have to come in here and talk.
Look, I don't want to add to your stress.
I'll tell Dwayne we can't use that kind of language in school. Or anywhere, that Mommy is very bad when she uses it.
That's certainly a good start.
I'm not going to tell you I'm never going to cuss again.
Well, just try to remember what I said about modeling and how powerful the behaviors children see can be.
I'll try. I don't want Dwayne getting into trouble into school on account of me. I don't want him getting into trouble in school at all.
Well, this incident was clearly an outlier. I mean, he is generally well behaved and cooperative.
So he isn't a bad kid.
Not at all.
And I'm not a total failure as a mother?
Again, not at all. That's what made this incident so surprising. I mean, Dwayne has always given evidence of being from a stable and loving home.
Wow, that's good to hear. My mom watches him after school, makes sure all of his homework gets done, and I have him all night and I really do the best I can.
Of course.
Nobody's really going to be shocked if I stop cussing. It's Dwayne Sr. He's going to think I got religion or something.
Well, who knows? It may even improve your communications with him.
I don't know about that. I guess we'll see.
Well,
And Mom.
thank you. Thank you for coming in.
Let's hope this is the last time I do.
Thank you for letting me put it down.
He's really too old for that.
He likes it when we read together.
He goes to bed fine on his own.
Thanks, how big for dinner.
He said it was the only thing that he wanted for his birthday.
God love him.
And since you've been less of an asshole lately, I thought, well, it won't kill me.
I have really been trying to be more supportive.
I appreciate your coming through with more child support.
You have to believe, I've always done what I could.
But sometimes that just wasn't good enough.
I'm sorry for that. Do you want that glass of that wine with you?
Don't you need to be going?
Like, stay for a little bit, if you don't mind.
I guess not. Help yourself.
Yeah, this.
Well, that's hardly a mouthful.
I have to drive.
When did you start caring about that?
I've been caring about a lot of things lately. You had better work, Wade Jr., you.
Me and Dwayne Jr. are doing all right.
Any more problems in school?
Oh, he knows he better watch his mouth. I've been trying to watch mine.
I'd better set up our calls.
How's Susie Jackson?
I haven't seen Susie Jackson in over a year.
Who's your piece now?
Don't have one.
That's not like you.
Haven't seen Susie.
No way. You planning on being a priest or something? Well, all I could say is hush my mouth.
There is someone.
I knew it.
You actually have no idea.
Don't tell me you're switching teams.
Nah, nothing like that. Don't you think it's nice when we get it on better?
Sure. Although you used to be a good target for my angry energy. Now I've got all this anger, but no place to go with it.
Why are you angry?
You're joking, right?
Serious question.
I hate my job. I love Dwayne Jr., but I feel trapped. I'm lonely. You what?
I'm gonna say something that you're gonna think is crazy.
I'm waiting.
How would you feel about us seeing each other again?
I see you sitting here at my kitchen table, having just eaten a meal I prepared.
I mean, like dating.
And you're right, you are crazy.
We had a good thing once upon a time.
And that's what it was, a fairy tale. But things got really took off.
I was 17.
So was I.
I was scared.
You were scared? You didn't have a baby growing in your belly. You didn't have to go through labor. You didn't have to deal with my mother.
And I am deeply ashamed.
La-dee-da-dee-da.
But we had a good thing once upon a time.
That was 8 years ago.
Yeah, tell me I'd still remember.
You are nuts.
That's why neither of us has found anyone since.
How about because I had a child to raise? You have no idea how much time and energy that takes.
And I'm trying to say, I don't want you to have to do it alone anymore.
That train has left the station.
And it can't stop at another station. You're lonely. I'm lonely.
So we're talking about a pity fuck. Shit! I'm not supposed to cuss anymore.
No pity involved. You're still the hottest woman I know.
Oh, you can just stop with that.
It's true. I must find aside the worst.
And even more arrogant.
Tell me you don't feel sport.
You are freaking insane.
That's not a no.
I need you to get out of my house.
You don't mean that.
Now.
Please.
You think because you come waltzing in here with a birthday cake and a video console for your son,
We talked about it. You said it was okay.
and just because you're trying to be a better father doesn't mean I'm going to go all soft and runny inside.
I want to be a better man to you too.
After all this time,
There's a reason we're both still alone.
I told you,
What's the harm in giving it a chance?
because I don't trust you not to go running off the minute things get tough.
What if
You got to do a better job of finishing your sentences.
What if we were married?
Who are you and what have you done with Dwayne?
I'm serious.
Are you sure you're not drunk?
See, you make all these remarks, but you don't say no.
I don't.
I want to be a husband to you. Not just a father to Wade Jr.
Wait, what do you mean husband?
I think you know exactly what I mean.
Oh, so you're missing this?
I am.
You're crazy.
Well, let's see. How crazy?
Oh, and that was awkward
But nice.
and awkward.
But nice.
Okay, dude, so you're still good at this.
That's not the only skill I can take.
Easy. There will be none of that with Dwayne Jr. in the house.
Fair enough.
And my mother is not going to take him for a night so I can hook up with you. She wouldn't like it for anyone, but especially not you.
Never gonna forgive me for that, is she?
Not likely.
Price I gotta pay.
We should take this slow anyway. With you pay for a sitter, and we can go to dinner or go dancing or something. Would be good to ease back in
It's your call.
if we're going anywhere at all.
Maybe we could do more as a family with Dwayne Jr.
We gotta be careful with that. Don't want to get his hopes up until we're sure.
Fair enough. Dinner Saturday night?
Call me tomorrow.
Okay.
Let's get out of here. We both have work in the morning.
Till tomorrow. Try to stay.
We're going to have questions and answers. The show is being recorded tonight for the playwright, so that you'll get a copy of it. Not only the playwright, the question and answer period afterwards. And that's Bob Harrison over there. Bob, say hey. Hey! And he will conduct the question and answer period for you. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you again very much for coming out and supporting. We are recording this performance and the question and answer period. So I guess we got enough chairs. We're ready to have a seat. So I'm sure that he really wanted to be here, but he lives in Florida, so he's not here. But I'm sure he'd appreciate any questions or comments or anything you'd like to share.
First of all, bless his heart for living in Florida.
Right?
But I want to tell you, Bob, this was fabulous. And part of the fabulousness was your minimalist directing as far as props and, you know, I saw them drinking and there was never, they didn't have to fool around with glasses and all that. But I saw them drinking it, you know, and the cast was just amazing.
Yes.
Okay, I've got to say, I love so many people on stage, so I'm very lucky to be here. Andy, I heard you so much. I was a 7th grade teacher.
This kid walked in wearing a pink white shirt, like, no, you can't come in here until you tell me your top 3 songs. He goes, oh, I can play these 5 on a guitar. This guy represents by heart so many people, so many dear friends on stage, beautiful voice. And I've done all the bells and whistles with S2S. I've been in this company for a dozen years. So beautiful, so undone, and so, the script I read last year is beautiful, but really, really raw and true. Thank you, Mom. Yeah. Yes, thank you, Bob.
Any other questions? It's such a beautiful script.
Yes.
And if for people who are in the theater, you know, when you read a book, it takes a while to figure out if you like the book or the writer. And plays and movies or there's something Anakin Carter. This one, I just read it and it was just so true and it's just completely believable all the way through. And I was thinking about it last night. It's got almost every aspect of life that's covered. Every type of relationship, death, marriage, you know, or everything. Yeah. And the key to directing is getting a good script and casting well. And so that's all I did. And I'm so proud of everybody.
I also think that the play's kind of a statement about our society and how we're all so linked together, just by one person now. It used to be 6 degrees of separation. Now it's almost like 1 or 2. The world's getting smaller and more, hopefully, will be less hateful and more loving the smaller we get. So that's all we can hope.
So it's almost expecting you to show up at the end as a character. I go,
It doesn't go full circle.
It doesn't quite.
That's right.
It's based on this French play that Arthur Ship.
Don't say
It's called Laurent, and it goes in a full circle, but it was really sexually explicit.
Oh.
And it got banned.
But I like the fact that this doesn't go, this is a complete circle, it just keeps continuing. It'll eventually come, you know, hopefully it will never come full circle.
Yeah.
As we go on and our lives change and things happen.
Yeah.
Bob, I'm sorry to speak twice, but I'm on the play reading committee for S2S, in addition to being the company manager. And I have to tell you, like, 10 years ago, 12 years ago, the word cocksucker was used at church here, and we got a letter of complaint. You know, and it was like, oh my gosh. So Hal was saying to me tonight, he's also on the play reading committee, kind of runs it, and he said, oh my God, they're going to say it 3 times. How many letters have we got today? You know?
3.5.
And thank you for making it 4.
And Diane slipped in an F-bomb, so we got that working.
The other thing I wanted to mention is that in Little Lost, when the partner was passed away, I'm not sure if I wasn't paying full attention or.
It comes out of quite a bit later in our scene, I think, than right at the beginning.
Yeah.
It is a little hard to follow. I agree.
Yeah, Brenda never shows up, so she.
No, but in fact, he doesn't, what he's saying, and I agree too, for the playwright, it's not quite, you don't know why I'm upset, why I'm drinking, why I'm like I am right at the beginning. It's not said right away.
And then when somebody is dying, who is that?
Right, exactly. Yeah, I agree.
And I gotta say, Deb, I mentioned to Chet during your scene, not that it was to speed, but I said, watch Deb, she's acting with her feet. Your feet were out when you were drunk, right? And your whole body became drunk. It was so, I hung on everyone like, look at her feet are acting. Your feet are out because you're drunk. It was so great. Yeah, no, love you.
Because she's a pro.
Oh yeah, I know.
I must say you're a very good drunk.
I've had a lot of practice.
And I try to help her with that.
You too, Shirley. We're the martini girls.
And by the way, you've grown up since 7th grade.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And what grade are you in, 12th?
I graduated.
Last year?
Last year.
Oh, so I'm so behind.
Yes.
I want to say a few years ago, he and I had the pleasure to work together, and he had to roll a marijuana cigarette on stage with me, and he got to say the F word in front of me, and he said, oh, that needs to say F word in front of Dr. Coleman. But don't tell the kids about the marijuana cigarette. You can tell them, I get to say an F word in front of Dr. Coleman, no marijuana cigarette, yeah. So, yeah, I'm beyond proud of you. Thank you for being amazing.
And you brought him here to us.
I did.
And thank you.
My fault.
Fabulous.
My fault, yes.
It's her fault that I'm here.
Yes. And you're amazing, darling.
I appreciate that.
Yes.
Thank you. Well, oh, yes.
I felt like the father of the baby kind of left the town after the story get completed. Yeah.
Would you want to take in your stuff just to do that?
Well, we can't, yeah, that's what I felt like the father of the baby kind of got shripped up in the play.
That was disappointed by my number of lines as well.
Oh, perfect.
Well, at least he didn't die.
He's already happy for that.
Being the father.
Oh,
Never really bothered me.
he's the big daddy.
Yes, he is the big daddy. I think he didn't get a fair story. To me, it fit into the whole message. She was done. When she raised him, and she was nothing. And so I was shocked that he didn't come back, but she didn't want it.
Right.
And Bob, I gotta give you props because this is a huge cast for this small stage. And you all did very, very well. Like, it's a big cast. The last year was a big cast, not this year. So you did very, very well.
No, sit down in the chair.
Yeah. There's your walking. Don't move. Get up, go. Very easy.
It was really sexy, and all much more about this as other aspects that come into it. And it was banned in Germany for a while. So these go sexy. Yeah, it's all about sex. But if there were Laurent, Kobe and Ty would have hooked up at the end. That's right. That would have gone full circle. We'll stay for that one. All right. In this, all the characters talk about sex and about their relationships, and so sex is not always just about sex. And the scene with Lisa and Alan wanting it was so interesting to me to hear Alan's character try to explain to Jeremy that it's just sex. So it's like you like hamburgers and Jeremy doesn't like hamburgers. I thought Jeremy did an extraordinary job, or Andrew did, of showing the angst to, be honestly threatened by it and doubtful that it was just about sex. But as far as we know, you guys are still together, right?
I hope not.
I do a thing where I don't read the script or look at the thing beforehand.
Okay.
And I did know about Laurent, and in the intermission, I expected him to put that Christian. So we all these new people got on him.
To go backwards?
Yeah, all through those relationships.
Oh, wow.
That's we had to go within the house. Did Laurent go all the way around like a circle?
Well, I was Laurent the wrong way. But I thought it was going to work its way along, right?
That'd be an interesting note for the playwright. Yeah, I thought that.
Yeah. I think Deborah's becoming the queen of one-liners. I think in this play, I've seen her in a number of things where she always has a line that's outstanding, was feeling funny. But when she said, "Have you met Britt?" I didn't. It was like,
Wait, just how she said it. You. Thank you. I appreciate that. Everybody in this cast is yours. They were with made directing very, very easy. That's it. Any other comments or questions? Okay, well, thank you again.